Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Avro. Today we are going to discuss regarding the some of the questions which came in the HPCL mechanical engineering papers. So we had discussed some of the questions in our last classes. So today we are going to continue with some of the more questions here. So I'm going to solve some of the questions which came in the previous year exam paper in 2013 as well as in 2018. So I'm taking one paper question, that is the critical thickness of insulation. The critical thickness of insulation, thickness of insulation for cylinder is given by, for cylinder is given by, so there are the four options over there, that is K by H, and other is 2K by H, 2K by H. Option C is given by 3K by H. Option D is given by 2H by K. So they are asking for the insulation thickness of a cylinder. It is a cylinder. So this cylinder will be insulated. So if we do the further insulations of this cylinder, so ultimately we can see there is a two radius. So I'm just taking the radius of this part. So this is a cylinder and that has been insulated. So this is the R1 and this is the R2, that is radius. So thickness is given by T, there will be R2 minus R1. And ultimately H, this is the thickness, and H is the heat transfer coefficient. Heat transfer coefficient. So ultimately the critical thickness insulations for the cylinder will be given by K by H. So K by H, K is nothing but the material conductivity. K is material conductivity. Material conductivity. It's just very easy. We have this is the thickness. This is the thickness T, and H is the heat transfer coefficient, and K is the material conductivity. So the thickness insulation for the cylinder is given by K by H. So I can show you one graph. So this is just a graph which is shown for the insulation thickness. This is just here is one part and here is the maximum part. So this will be given by R is equal to K by H. So this is Q min by Q max. So these are the theoretical questions. So I hope this part is clear to you now. So I go to the next question, that is in a cascade refrigeration system. In a cascade refrigeration system, in a cascade refrigeration system, the coefficient of performance is written by COP, coefficient of performance of lower cycle is the coefficient of performance of lower cycle is COP1, and of upper cycle and that of upper cycle is COP2. So then that the COP of the compiled cycle, find the COP of combined cycle. So here are the four options given. Option A is COP1 into COP2 divided by 1 plus COP1 plus COP2. Option B is given as COP1 into COP2. Option C is given as COP1 plus COP2 divided by 1 into COP1 plus COP2, and option D is given none of these. So what do you mean by the cascade refrigeration system? So we know this refrigeration system. So when there is a two body, that is here the temperature T1 and here it goes, this is a reservoir, so this is called the work done. So there is another reservoir, that is T2. So this is called the refrigeration cycle of the single unit. So if we go to the refrigeration cycle, that is a cascade refrigeration cycle, that means it will be combining of the two coefficient of performances. So in the case of cascade refrigeration cycle, it will be, this will be T1, this will be the temperature for the hot body, then again there will be other reservoir, that is W1, again there will be another temperature, that is T1 over here, this is cascaded. Again there will be another temperature, that is W2, and this will be the temperature of the cold body. So here we can see the two reservoirs are being attached with the one system. So there will be two works are taking, so W1 and W2, both their two coefficient of performance will be working in the same system. So that is the meaning of cascade, that means two systems are joined in one system. So two coefficient of performance reservoir work done are there, W1, W2. So it will be ultimately coefficient of performance 1 into coefficient of performance 2 divided by 1 plus coefficient of performance 1 plus coefficient of performance 2. So option A will be the correct answer. So I hope you have understood how it is being done. So now I go to the next question. So the next question is very much important for the exam, that is the specific heat relation. The specific heat relation is, number 1 is given option Cp minus Cv divided by is Vt beta square divided by Kt, and other is option B is Cp minus Cv is equal to Vtk by beta square. Option C is given by Cp minus Cv is equal to beta k Tk by, that is P Tk by beta square, and option D is given by Cp minus Cv is equal to, there is a V square Tk by V square T beta by K square. So we know from the gas equation, that is Cp minus Cv is equal to R. R by J, J is equal to 1. So we can put Cp minus Cv is equal to R. So we know various relations, Cp minus Cv is equal to R, that is Cp by Cv is also equal to R. So R value is equal to Vt beta square by Kt. So as Cp minus Cv is equal to R and R is equal to Vt beta square by Kt. So from these two equations we can write Cp minus Cv is equal to Vt beta square by Kt. So option A is the correct answer. So this is the specific heat relation between the Cp minus Cv is equal to Vt square Bt by kT. As we know, Cp minus Cv is equal to R. R is just a constant, that is Vt beta square by kT. So ultimately this will be the answer. Cp minus Cv is equal to Vt beta square by kT. So now I hope it is a very easy question. So now I go to the next question, next part of the question. So they are asking the kinetic velocity of a liquid. The kinetic velocity of liquid. The kinetic velocity of liquid is 6 strokes. What will be the kinematic velocity in meter square? What will be the kinematic velocity? Kinematic velocity in meter square per second. So they are asking the kinetic velocity of the liquid, that is 6 strokes. So what will be the kinematic velocity in meters square per second? So we know one stroke value, this is 10 to the power minus 6 meters square per second. So they are asking for 6 strokes. So 6 strokes kinematic velocity will be nothing but 6 into 10 to the power minus 6 meters square per second. I'm sorry, I made one mistake, that is one stroke will be 10 to the power minus 4 meter per second. So it will be 6 into 10 to the power minus 4 meter per second, meter square per second. So this will be the answer. So now I go for the next question. Next question is asking which of the following statement is not correct? Which of the current statement is not correct? For the assumption made. For the assumptions made in derivation of Bernoulli's equations. So we know what is the Bernoulli's equations. This is being used for measuring the fluid flow in the fluid mechanics. So there is the 4 option. There is the flow is steady. Number 2 option is flow is incompressible. Option C is velocity of fluid is not zero. The velocity of fluid is not zero. And option D is the flow is irrational. So in this case, it is a part of the fluid mechanics question where you have to find the statement which is not correct for the assumptions made in the derivations of the Bernoulli's equation. So we have to find the statement which is correct. So first of all, we can say yes, the flow is steady. In the fluid mechanics, we can say yes, the flow is steady. Other is there that the flow is incompressible. Okay, this statement is also correct, that the flow is incompressible. Then other statement, the flow is irrational. Okay, this is correct. Only the statement which we cannot take into the assumption for derivation of Bernoulli's equation is only this, that is the velocity of the fluid is not zero. So these assumptions cannot be taken. So I hope you have understood which of the assumption is being taken for the derivations of the Bernoulli's equations of the fluid mechanics. So these are only these three statements are taken, only the third options is not taken, that is the velocity of fluid is not zero. So I hope this is very much easy for you to know, and so it was just a basic questions which came in the examination. So now I'm going to take another question here. The velocity of water in comparison to mercury. The velocity of water in comparison to mercury, velocity of water in comparison to mercury, we can write as Hg. That is option is given, that is higher. Option A is higher. Option B is same. Option C is given as lower, and option D is unpredictable. So in this option we can see the velocity of the water comparison to mercury is always higher. So because what do you mean by the velocity? Velocity means the speed at which the liquid flows. So the velocity of the water, as the water mercury density is higher than water, so the velocity of the mercury will be always lesser than water. So according to this question, the velocity of the water in comparison to mercury will always be higher. So it was just a basic question. So now I can take some last question for today's session, that is heat loss in the turbulent flow. Heat loss in the turbulent flow. Heat loss in the turbulent flow. It is also a question for fluid mechanics. Turbulent flow in a pipe. In a pipe, that is options are given, that is varies inversely as a square of velocity. Varies inversely to the square of velocity. To the square of velocity. Now option B is, that is varies directly as velocity. Varies directly as velocity. The option C is varies approximately as a square of velocity. Varies approximately to the square of velocity. And option D is given as, that is varies inversely as velocity. Varies inversely of velocity. So in this question they are asking what is the heat loss of the turbulent flow in the pipe. So in the pipe there will be the flow of the liquid. So what will be the heat loss? So heat loss equations, that is given by, that is HL. HL will be given as F L V square by 2 into G into D. So this is the head loss equation. This is called the head loss. So when the fluid is flowing through the pipe, the equations or the expression for the head loss is given by F into L into V square divided by 2G into D. So from here we can write head loss is directly proportional to the V square. So this is the direct equations. So we can solve from here. That is the head loss directly proportional to velocity. That is square of velocity. So the options C will be the correct answer. That is varies approximately to the square of velocity. So I hope how we have got this expression, that is head loss is equal to FLV square by 2GD, and that is directly proportional to the velocity square. So I hope that this much the questions which I have solved till now is clear to you. So I'll be solving the next part of the questions in our next class. Thanks for joining my video. Have a great day. Bye bye.